we're doing here is we are making legs for a kitchen peninsula. And we're going to cut it into 3, this big cedar wood. But first, we get a fresh, dry, that's really dry, cedar wood. And so it's like this at first. Then we use a Japanese wood treatment. And so it starts like this. The next stage is like this. We put like a black cover with it by burning it with a torch. And then the last stage is like this, where it's all crackly. And then after this, we're going to take a wire brush to it and make it look real nice and fancy. So what we're doing here, the next stage, is we take a wire brush like this, and we want to scrape off the charcoal layer. So for now, that's what it's going to look like after we scrape it off. That's not the finish though. So you can either do it slowly, or if you want to do it really quickly, you should probably use a mask so that you don't breathe in all the charcoal. On the kitchen island, and with the cedar post, we're trying to get it to match the color of this board on our floor. Not completely match, but as much as possible. And the island will go right here out to about over there.
Okay. Now what did you do?
So here, from the last step we showed you, this we took the wire brush to it and like took off the charcoal, and then we did a light sand, a very light sand, and if you do too much, it'll take the darkness out of it.
Right.
So
cedar is pretty soft, so it's really easy to go too much, right? To take too much off.
And so what we do now is we take this brush and this stain, and we stain the wood, let it sit for 3 or 4 minutes, and then just brush the surface off with a cloth.
Okay, rub it off. Okay, like that. Okay, so let's have a look at what we did a little while ago.
This is what it will look like.
So this is about an hour old. So it's not totally cured yet, but you can see it's getting much closer to that floor. So this actually is more gray than it will look. It won't be as, a lot of the brown will actually come through that. You can always rub it a little more aggressively if you need to. So this one is actually slightly older. It's about an hour and a half this side. You can see some of the brown is coming through, which is starting to look much closer to that. So what do you think of this as a table leg?
Well, I really like it because it will match the peninsula. I think it's granite, if I remember right. It almost matches the peninsula, and yeah, and the floor too.
Good. So we're gonna have to keep an eye on stuff like this, areas that didn't maybe get rubbed as evenly, but we'll go over it. And then we're gonna finish it with a clear, a light clear finish, just to give it a bit of a light shell in case anybody kicks it or with their feet, right? Because people are going to be eating there. Good job. So maybe what I'll do is we'll get you to start staining that other side in the video. And you can show how much the stain will actually get clear as we rub it off. So if you want to just start that. So here it looks like just paint, right? But after it soaks in a bit, it will allow, and then we rub the surface off after it's soaked in a bit. It allows that grain to still show through. So of course some people would much prefer just seeing the wood grain. But for our purposes on this project, we need some barn board color.
So now it's been about 3 minutes since we've painted this side. I'm doing my first rub down of this side.
The stain?
Mm-hmm.
Good.
And if you go too hard, it'll take it off, and that's not what we want. We want just enough so that we rub it in.
Good job. So I'll give this a minute or two, and then we'll do a final rub with the clean cloth.
So this is my last pass over with a clean cloth, and we want to rub it with this cloth so that the grain will show through. So if you see on this side, it's still gray, but the grain shows through. So that's what we want.
What happens if you go too hard, too aggressive?
Then it just rubs it off.
It's good. I like it. So when we do the final video, we'll do it during the daylight when the island is built. That way we can see how well we were able to achieve our color comparison to our floor, because right now it's the evening and the colors don't always work so well.